What do the numbers miss on DeMar DeRozan? How is a guy who's regarded around the league as an all-star level player, one of the best players in the league by a lot of coaches, looked at so poorly analytically? Are they onto something or are they missing something? Let's take a deep dive into his game one performance in particular. I'll post a lot more on Twitter at ScoutWithBryan and hopefully look at a few more games in his series as well. But first of all, let's just start with his offense in game one. Ultimately, you have to understand his game. All right, his game, yes, it ends up in a lot of mid-range shots being taken. First of all, not all mid-range shots are the same. When he makes plays like this out of the post back down, he's trying obviously to get as close as he can to the basket. If he just chucked up a shot right here, right away, that's not the best shot in the world. But what he tries to do is put pressure on the defense. He comes off a lot of these small screens in transition, try to get switches, try to get favorable matchups that he likes. And if he likes the matchup, he goes to the back down. And you see the defense has to react to it because they know how good he is. Look at Barton help off Derek White right here. So DeMar makes a great pass to a cutting White who just happens to blow the layup. But that's a great high IQ basketball play by DeRozan. Remember this play. If you watched my Spurs video, which you can click up top, you'll see it's one of their favorite plays to run for him. They call it DHO pick to dribble handoff into kind of a double drag for DeRozan. Ends up getting him a lot of these right elbow jumpers. This one isn't perfectly pure, but he gets a good roll. Remember this play, though, because we're going to come back to it later in the game. And yes, you can say it's a tough mid-range jumper. Teams will live with that. Fine, but you know what? It's a necessary solution, and it's one of the main plays the San Antonio Spurs run, and Greg Popovich runs for him. I think Greg Popovich knows a thing or two about coaching. You see another small screen in transition here. DeMar, also one of the leaders in the league in getting to the free throw line. He's top 20, right around there with Jimmy Butler. Loves on these mismatches to really go at you, get deep to the post. And like I said, this could end up being a 17-foot shot, or if he's able to really use his leverage and back you down well, he gets right about to the dots where he has a 5-footer. And he'll get the defense to reach and go for shot fakes and gets a ton of free throws. Hard to imagine how anybody could take issue with this shot. Coming off a staggered screen, this is technically, yes, another mid-range jumper. It's outside the paint. It's probably right around 16 feet. But you think any coach has a problem with taking this shot, coming off a double stagger, to take a wide-open 15-footer? This play, they had ran a couple pick and rolls, end up getting DeMar a switch with Mason Plumlee. This is another area of his game where he really excels, being able to attack a mismatch, whether it be a smaller guy or a big man right here. Attack the slower Plumlee's feet. And again, a guy that technically, again, this is a mid-range shot considered by some. Could have been a free throw line pull-up. Basketball, once again, it's not computerized. You can't dictate exactly where you pull up from every time. Obviously, DeRozan wants to take shots as close as possible, right about there in the 6-7 foot range. And against slower and poorer defenders, he's able to. Against better defenders who resist better, sometimes the shot ends up further out. But yes, again, that's a shot not at the rim, not a three. It's an in-between shot. It's a necessary solution for a guy like DeRozan. You see again here. Now we're playing off the step-up screen from the big. Can attack the big, put pressure on the defense. And that ends up creating, again, this is a hockey assist for DeRozan, but it doesn't show up in a normal stat sheet. This is him. You see how Denver, how much attention they pay on him. Plumlee's getting out really aggressive on his step up, so he's going to turn around, put more pressure on the D. Murray has to pull in a little bit, be worried about what's going on with the roll man. Derek White starts to move before DeRozan makes the pass, so he hits him on the move. Derek White's able to dump off to Pirtle, who's got a floater right at the rim for a basket. Another big play they run for DeRozan. Little flex screen to post him up. Look how much attention Denver ends up giving him here. They straight up send a double team to him. This is how he's regarded in the league. He is a matchup nightmare. I guarantee you, more than anybody on the Spurs, he is the one guy Mike Malone is worried about most. You see it in the way the defense reacts to him. Murray's going to come just straight up to double him in the post. That's the game plan. That's the game plan of a lot of teams in the NBA against a mismatch, is to come and help against DeMar DeRozan, which creates a long closeout for Mason Plumlee. Fly by. Derek White ends up getting a wide open one dribble pull up. Again, that shows up as an assist, but it really shows up in the impact it has on forcing the defense to react to DeRozan. Again, you see him going, this is his game. He loves these early backdowns and is great. Like Harden, he's one of the best in the league. You can call it tricking the refs, whatever, but if he senses contact, he's just going to rip through and get automatic to the free throw line. In addition to getting the free throw line, he's second after Harden in the league and just driving and attacking the basket. He attacks frequently. Another thing people love to say about him, yes, he's not going to shoot threes this season. He doesn't shoot them. He's not really a threat to make them from out there, but he is not being completely unguarded out there. Look at Barden here. Yes, Barden could be a little bit closer to the paint and be ready to help a tiny bit more, but DeMar DeRozan is still a threat when he catches the basketball to put it down, shoot off one dribble, attack and get to the basket. Nobody in the league is running 30 feet off him to go help off other people. When he's out there, he's still being guarded for the most part. And like on plays like this where Derek White attacks and kicks out to Rudy Gay for the corner, that's the impact that he has. Even though he's not a big-time shooter like Danny Green, he's still guarded on the floor. Nobody completely ignores him out there. And even when he has the ball, that's true, because they know what a threat he is to end up using his dribble, getting into the paint, and creating a shot. The Spurs love to use this angle pick and roll for him, which he reads again perfectly here. Jokic is concerned about him. Jamal Murray has to come in and help on the roll a little bit. Derek White lifts up, which creates a tougher closeout for Jamal Murray. Derek White puts the ball down, attacks, gets the floater. Again, another assist for DeRozan and just the right basketball play. What he does so well. We saw a couple of these plays earlier that resulted in mid-range jumpers. Like I said, game's not computerized. Sometimes he stops on a dime and takes that free throw line pull-up. And sometimes when guys are playing up on him and really want to take that shot away, he'll keep going and drive and attack and get to the free throw line, which he does as well, again, as pretty much everybody except for James Harden. Like I talked about, these small pick and rolls, they don't want to switch a lesser defender onto him, so they're just in a show to allow Craig to get back and try to guard him, which allows DeMar to really attack the baseline. And when he gets there, he is not a ball stopper like a Melo who just wants to take his own shot every time. He wants to really attack you, end up making the right pass, which here creates, again, a long closeout for Bertans, who drives and, again, is able to hit Pirtle for a little floater. Shows up nothing more than a hockey assist, but shows up really putting up the pressure on the defense and making the right play. You see they run this loop play to isolate DeRozan. Plumlee ends up switching it. But you see Mike Malone reacting even here. Pull in, pull in. That's how concerned they are about DeMar DeRozan. Help. Help's too slow to come. He attacks, gets it back. And then once again, you see Denver not wanting to switch a smaller defender onto him. So he shows, doesn't do a very good job of it. Allows DeRozan to get comfortable right into his pull-up. This is the fourth quarter, up 4 with 8 minutes left. This is a huge basket. This was the open shot on that possession. This was a huge make. We're up 4 again with 6:50 left in the fourth. High pick and roll they run for him this time. Again, look at how tight he's being guarded. You think defenses are just going under him or not concerned about him shooting? Look how much they're into the ball and how much Jokic has to come over and help and stop the ball on the pick and roll. Once he does that, DeRozan flips it back to Aldridge, which creates a long closeout for Jokic because he's so engaged with trying to stop DeMar. Long closeout, one dribble, shot fake, floater. That's an assist. That's a huge winning play. Put him up 6. Now we're up 1, 5:30 left in the fourth. Now's when you need a solution sometimes. The defense is tight. Refs aren't calling contact at the rim. You drive in, you might not get a foul call. Come off the pick and roll again. Jokic doesn't engage as much. This time what he ends up getting to is the step back. It's a tough shot. It's a tough contested 2, what teams want. But to have a guy who studied Kobe Bryant, who studied MJ, who studied the footwork of some of the mid-range greats, being able to make this shot, that's a massive shot with 5:30 left in a playoff game. You think they would have won this game without him? You're nuts. 2:30 left, up 3. Who's carrying them down the stretch? Are they running plays for Bryn Forbes? Are they running plays for Rudy Gay? No. They're running plays for DeMar DeRozan. He's reading the play, making the right move. Loves, again, getting to the post, getting to those shot fakes. They do a good job here with shot fake discipline, not going for the fakes. So he senses that twice, then rises up and has another huge basket to put the Spurs on top and pretty much seal the win. He carried them down the stretch over and over again in this game. And remember how I talked about remembering that play earlier, that rub pick, DHO pick, dribble handoff to a double drag. Ends up getting right about the same shot he had in the first quarter. This one doesn't happen to go down, but it's still an in-rhythm jumper that Pop loves to run for him off that same play to get him to that right elbow, or he gets a really good look that just happens to not go down. This was an after timeout play. They ran again for him, up 1 with 35 seconds left. How much they rely on him, how much they need him as the primary ball handler, the guy that's near the top 20 in assists as well in the league. You see again, he kicks out, draws help, makes Jamal Murray come in and help on the roll, finds Derek White. Derek White happens to miss this shot, but that's a shot he's hit a lot in this series, made a lot in this game. But even more important than that, watch DeRozan. We talk about winning plays. This shows up, yes, in the box score as an offensive rebound, but not how many guys would have the presence of mind late game to sense where the shot's going and go and get it for a huge rebound with 27 seconds left. That's why he's a winner. Now let's look at him defensively, right? Everybody's got an issue with him defensively. I watched this whole game. I saw not a single defensive mistake, not a single game plan mistake. I see a guy that plays hard, that's in the right spots like he is here, ready to help on Jokic's post up. I see a guy, yes, who normally guards Barton or other guys who aren't huge usage offensive players, but who gets down in a low good stance and who does the right thing according to the game plan. San Antonio's game plan here was to send Derek White at Jokic once he puts the ball down, turns his head. They go to trap him. So DeMar, who's guarding Barton, has to rotate. Barton ends up getting a wide open 3. He misses it, but how do you evaluate something like this? You evaluate something like this by understanding the film, by knowing that DeMar DeRozan made the right rotation, and somebody else had to rotate for him, which was Rudy Gay. And Barton happens to miss the shot, but whether he makes or misses it, that's good defense. It's not about whether the shot goes in or not. It's about the process. See it again here. Like I said, he's usually guarding a wing who's off the ball, who's not a high usage guy, but he does his job. Here once again, Derek White goes to double late. DeMar sees it, rotates out onto Jamal Murray, flies him off a 3. Murray happens to hit the mid-range pull-up here. Who does that go against? That goes against DeMar's plus-minus. Does it go against his defensive rating as his matchup on that play? I don't know. I'm not sure who it even counts against. But you know what? He's doing the right thing. And if you watch enough and you see him doing the right thing over and over again, you start to understand and you get a sense that he's in the right places defensively. He plays hard. He plays 39 minutes a game, and Greg Popovich doesn't tolerate guys not playing hard, period. And DeMar does it for 39 minutes in a playoff game. Here you see Will Barton trying to find a mid-range shot that DeMar finds so well. DeMar is able to block his shot from behind by knowing his tendencies, by knowing that he's not a huge mid-range player and pretty much is reliant on the floater. I included this clip just to show again, how do we count things like this? This goes against DeMar's plus-minus again, end of the third quarter. But he stays home on the shooter. Mason Plumlee happens to get a little touch floater. The Spurs will live with that all day. And it's going to show up, yes, as a defensive basket, as a shot allowed, so on and so forth. It's good defense. Certainly good defense by him. Again here, let's talk about how often I say it's make-miss league. Much more concerned with doing the right thing, being in the right spots. Here the Spurs ice this side pick and roll. So Plumlee has a roll to the basket. DeMar has to pull in, which he does to stop the roll. Otherwise, Plumlee would have had a dunk. Kick out pass. DeMar recovers out to a guy who's not an elite shooter. So he doesn't completely fly him off the three, that's game plan defense. That's doing the right thing. Shot happens to go in, again, it'll show up, hurt his plus minus, doesn't hurt Greg Popovich. Finally, Denver, overall, shot 6 of 28 from three. The Spurs happened to make more threes. They made 7, taking only 15. Yes, everybody loves threes, okay, but not all threes are created the same, just like not all mid-range shots are created the same. This was an open look, but it's a contested, off-the-dribble three. Does Denver make those shots a lot? Sure. Does Daryl Morey in Houston prefer that shot to a mid-range shot every time? Sure. But not every team operates like that. In fact, pretty much only Houston does. Other teams find like this in the playoffs. If you don't have a guy who can create his own shot and potentially score in the mid-range, you get situations like this for Denver where Jokic is guarded one-on-one and Pirtle does a good job with him. So help doesn't really have to come in all that much. And they get another contested three. People talked about, oh, Denver 6-28, they normally make those shots. I saw a whole lot of threes for them that were contested, and these are tough threes. This is not a tremendous amount of pressure put on the defense by Jokic or anybody all night. They were taking shots like this. Again, Barton in transition, a one-dribble kind of step back. Whether it's a good shot or bad shot, you can decide. Ultimately, there'll be people that say, oh, it's a three, so it's a good shot. But there's something to be said for taking wide-open mid-range shots instead of contested threes sometimes. All right? The game is not black and white. It's gray. Ryan Saunders told me that once. He's an NBA head coach. These guys know what they're talking about. Sometimes contested threes go in, sometimes they don't. I'm not one of those live by the three, die by the three guys. It's undoubtedly, it works for some teams. It's a great shot for a lot of guys. But sometimes in the playoffs, you run unstructured offense like Denver and just take a whole lot of threes like this. It's not the best shot in the world. Once again, DeRozan, first of all, it's on the weak side in the pick and roll. He comes in, ready to help, but he does a great job getting back out to Barton, not over-helping. And then Jamal Murray gets another contested three. Can he make this shot? Absolutely. But why some people are so convinced that this shot is always better, right? If this shot's a 31% three, or whatever it is, not all threes are created the same. Like I said, this is contested, off the move. Doesn't matter. A guy's three-point percentage is not going to be what every shot looks like. There's threes that are in rhythm, that are on kickouts, that are on multiple penetrations, and there's threes that are on a guy backpedaling out to the line and taken against a good contest, right? Whether you prefer this, a 31% three, or whatever you think the shot is, sometimes a DeMar DeRozan shot that I think will go in 44% of the time, even if its effective field goal percentage is a little bit lower, there are times where it makes sense to have shots that go in more frequently. Period, bottom line, and that's what you see in DeMar DeRozan and you see in the Spurs leading this series so far. I'll break down the rest of his film from the series so far, but again, make sure you follow on Twitter at ScoutWithBryan. If you can support on Patreon, patreon.com/ScoutWithBryan. Make sure to thumb up, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching What the Numbers Miss with DeMar DeRozan.